Welcome to my live broadcast this afternoon. Hi Nancy, hi Pat. I'm so glad you all are here. We're testing our new Wi-Fi equipment. Hi Jackie. And what I want to tell you about, on my screen you'll see some, hi Linda, fox eyes. So next Wednesday on my main Facebook page, K-Wit Fine Art, I'll be teaching this project. It's like totally free, so tell your friends, anybody who's wanted to try pastel and velour and is kind of not sure about it, tune in, and I'm going to be doing these fox eyes. If you're on my mailing list, you'll get automatically you'll get a color list and a line transfer so that you can paint along with me, and anybody who wants to join the mailing list and get it can certainly do that too. Hi Pat, I am so glad to see you. Hi Kathy. I have to tell you guys, we're getting ready to have a thunderstorm, so I hope that doesn't blow things out of the water, but I'm really hopeful that this new, more powerful equipment will work really well for us. So that's the fox eyes. That's next Wednesday afternoon at 1:30 Eastern Time. It's going to be fun. I love doing eye studies. So here's my little extra project for today. This is Louie. Let me get my camera down here a little closer. Louie belongs to my granddaughter. She is a beautiful little Chihuahua. And we're going to use the same colors that we used for our bobcat. I hope you all enjoyed your bobcat and you were able to finish it. Here's my reference photo of Louie. Jackie took the photo and posted it, and it's adorable, right? This is just great. So I'm going to paint it for you using the same colors that we used for the bobcat. I put the photographs of the steps so far up on the Facebook page, so you'll be able to see what I did. And I only painted half of Louie. So I'm going to work on the other half and then finish the left half as well. So I put in my base layer with gray, my 704.7 gray, and then for the base coat I used the brown that we used before, the 283. I'm looking for my little piece. It's here somewhere. The 283 I put down for the dog color. And in the ears I used the 416 new pastel and the pink. And then the eyes are a little different. So I left this eye open so we could work on the eye. And we'll add background, and then we'll add this beautiful blanket underneath Louie. She's a real sweetheart. Louie, it looks like from the photograph, and Jackie can correct me if I'm wrong, she has cataracts, and so rather than put those in, I decided to give her brown eyes. So let's add that other eye. So I'm going to use my 305 spruce blue to outline Louie's eye. Hi, Emilsa. It's wonderful to see you here with us. And draw in her little pupil there. And then go over it in black. So here's my 229 black. looks pretty good. Now we need to color in her eyes. So let's see what we have in our pile of colors. That we can use. So I have, we have our 283 Van Dyke Brown, so I think that's what we're going to use to color in the base coat of her eye. So I'm just going to color that in. And then I'm going to use my Jackie says I'm right. Louie does have cataract, and she says thank you for painting her portrait, and that's sweet. So I'm going to use my 353 Cordovan to darken up around her eye and around the sides. I need to go a little bit darker underneath the rim of her eye. So I'm going to use the black to darken it, and that will add our shadow. Now at the bottom, we want to add some light, and I have my 233 raw sienna. So I'm going to add light opposite where our highlight's going to be, down in that bottom. And then to brighten it up a little, I'm going to use 207 Chrome Yellow. Right down at the very bottom, and that just pops it out. Then for our highlight, we'll use white. And let's see if I can find my blue pencil. Got my blue pencil. Add a little reflected skylight across there. And that just really, I love that. Pops it out. Now, around her lid, I need to make that a little, I'm going to use my 259 gray. Hi Belva, hi Mandy, and I think I missed Patricia. Welcome Patricia. And Mandy. Glad you guys can make it. So I'm going to add some gray down there to draw in the lid, and then use my white pencil to highlight the bottom of the lid. Now I'm going to use, this is 353 Cordovan. And put it around her eye. There's a lot of pink I've noticed in Louie's body from her skin showing through. So we're going to add some of that with the color that we use for our ear. So let's do her nose now. We're going to do her nose like we did for our bobcat. We're going to outline it and color it in with 305 Spruce Blue. Really appreciate you guys sticking with me through my Wi-Fi saga. I'm going to color the nostrils really dark. Hi Donna, welcome. So where I see in the photograph, where it's darker, that's what I'm going to, I'll color that darker with my blue. And then just lightly color in the rest of it. So now she has a blue nose. I'll go back with my black. Go over the darkest areas with the black. I'm going to let some of the blue show through. Makes for a very interesting nose. And I'll lightly go over this with black, but not too much. Now to add some, hi Roberta. Glad you could make it. So to add the highlights, I'm going to use my 416 dark rose, because Louie's got a lot of pink in her nose. So I'm going to put it right down the center, very lightly. And then I'm going to highlight it with our 286 Matter Pink. Just a little bit, and that changes the color just enough to make it really the perfect color for her nose. Now, if it's too bright, you can take the 259 gray and you can gray it down just a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to adjust the dark based on my reference photo. And a little more black. Now the other thing I notice about her nose is her fur gets darker around her nose. So I'm going to use the 353 to just lightly add some dark brown. Under her nose where it meets the fuzzy pillow and blanket that she's laying on. And I'm kind of happy with the way that looks. I'm going to add a little more highlight right here. Just a little. And it's a little much, so let me tone it down a little bit. Now, I want to show you about these nails. She has pink nails. So in order to do those, what I did was I outlined them with the 416 rose, and then I highlighted them with the Matter Pink. On the other side, she only has one little nail showing, and the others are tucked under her, so I can't really add much there. Now, I have not put in the light fur yet. I just put the darker, or excuse me, the base coat in. Before I do the foot, it needs to be much darker in here. There's a shadow. So I'm going to use my 229 black. To really darken that shadow that's in there. It just makes her cute little face pop out. Who can resist this face, right? Now these same colors, you can see we use these colors, we use them to make a bobcat. You can use the same box of colors to make most anything. It doesn't take a lot of pastels to really create some beautiful artwork. So experiment. I'm going to darken just a little bit on this side. She's so cute. So we need to add some fur on the paw and on this side of her face. Then we'll add, we'll do this side and then we'll add some background. So for the fur, also I want to comment on her face. It's very pink in here. I've looked at this photo and looked at it, and I'm going to use the 416 pink to put a pinkish shadow over this side of her face. I'm going to get really bold with my color. And then this is the shadow side. So I'm going to make this a little darker with our 353 cordovan. And I think I'm going to put some pink with it. And it works. For me, it works. I just, I like that. It makes for a more interesting painting. You can always use whatever you have, which is one thing I really like about pastels. Let's put a little black in between her little toes. And we're going to add some fur now with 276 buff new pastel. Short little strokes. I figure today be a good test, right? We have thunderstorms and we also have new equipment. This is great. So far, so good, right? Let's put a little white over that because it needs to be a little brighter. So I have my white. I'm just putting in a little color. I'm not really going all out on the hair. And it's a little bit of shadow right here. So I'm going to add that too. Now on her face, I'm going to use my 211 white. To add a few hairs. And I'm looking at it and seeing if I like the way that looks, and I think I do. So let's move on with Miss Louie, and the hair changes direction here. goes up. And over her cheek, her little face here, but it comes around this way. And down. Rub it a little bit with my finger. Now in this area, it's a little pink, so I'm going to add a little pink, just draw it in lightly with the 416. And I'm going to take my white charcoal pencil and draw out a few hairs. And she's got a few whiskers, and since we don't have to pull them out over a large area, I'm going to add those. So her whiskers are short and black, and she's got a couple here. So I'm going to use my 6B pencil to do that. So that side, let's darken that rim a little bit. That side is finished of Miss Louie, and she looks pretty good. So let's do the other side. I'm going to add a little more color with my little bitty stick of 283 Van Dyke Brown. I'm going to sand it and wipe it off. Now let's do Miss Louie's ear. I'm going to use my 416. What I already did was I added a few white hairs. I'll just add a few more. When I initially drew my piece out. So now I'm going to use the 416. To add pink to the inside of her ears. Let's add some lighter pink with the 286 Matter Pink. And I'm just using this like I would color in a coloring book. Just real lightly. Now we need to darken it inside the inner part of her ear. So this is the 353 brown. Just darken it right there. There's a little dark area over here. And then around, I'm looking for my 383, I'm going to put a little brown. This is the 283, not 383. Around the top of her ear. And remember our 233 from her eye. I'm going to add just a little bit there to make it just a little bit warmer. Now before I add the hairs to her ear, I think this is 259 gray. Darken it just a tad more in that area. Okay. I'm going to add her hair with 211 white and 276 buff new pastel. Just short strokes of the white. Into her ear. Then I'm going to take the 276 and go on the outside of her ear. And she's got a few hairs on the inside. I'm switching to the 233. I'm going to see if that will. Those don't show up very well. Sometimes I just have to experiment. So on top of the 233, I'm going to add this 276. We could also try our pencil. I forgot about our pencil. 47 Conte pencil. And that works very nicely too. Switching back to the 276, come around this little place on her ear. I think I'll use my charcoal pencil, pull up a few hairs here. I find that pencils work better if you kind of hold them at an angle. That's a very nice little ear. I like that. Should look cute. So now we're going to fill in the rest of the hair on her face, being careful to follow the direction the hair grows. So I'm going to use my buff and my white. So I'm going to start with a buff because the underlying color is this brown that we put down. And we may need to take the other half of it that it didn't break off and add some darker hairs, but she's much lighter in color. So we'll just see. So I'm going to add, and her hair is very short. So I'm adding random cream colored hairs. Let's see how our pencil would do. You can add some with your pencil. Whatever you're more comfortable with. Then as we come closer to her ear, her hair gets whiter. So I'll switch to my white 211. And add short hairs. Now, looking for my brown, this is her eye socket. So the hair is very white around her eye socket. So I've marked that with my brown earlier, but just to show you. So the hair now will be mostly white, and it's going to go around her eye, and then we'll add some pink to it and make it fit. So here we go. Now I can use the corner of my stick to draw the hair, as long as it's sharp. Then the hair comes out of the center of Louie's nose. The hair goes in lots of different directions in this area. So they come in, hairs come into the eye, go around the top of her nose. I don't want every hair to be super sharp, so I'm going to let my stick get dull. Around her face. Okay, now I didn't mean to do that. So I've got this little white spot here that doesn't work, so I've got to get rid of that. I'm using my 353 for that. And I'll use the white charcoal pencil, pull hairs down into this area. Pull up a few hairs here. Now, the other thing I see she's got a very white area right here. I'm just going to use the edge of my pastel to highlight that area. Add a few hairs. Around the side of her face. Hi Tammy, welcome. I'm going to switch to my buff. Or you could use your pencil. And on this little edge of her, I'm not sure if it's her leg or if it's her body, because she's laying down, I do know that. Now, I want to make this look like it's going back, that there's some dimension here. So I'm going to use my 9B pencil and just shade a little bit in this area. To push it into the background. And you remember I told you I thought her skin was very pink, so I want to add a little bit of pink, the 416 rose, around here. I'm going to use our Conte 47. Pull a couple of light hairs out here. I'm also going to make it lighter right around her eye. That helped. That added a lot. I'm glad I did that. There's a little black area here, and then some whiskers. We have a whisker here. And we have a couple of whiskers here. She's also got a couple of hairs that come out right about there. And darken here. This is 353. So let's outline that little foot. I'm going to put a shadow underneath. I didn't talk about this. This is what I did under the front of her face. We're going to put the fluffy hair on the little couch thing here, but we need a shadow. This is 259 gray. So I'm just going to put this on to make a distinction until we add this background color, till we background into the foreground rather. I'm pretty happy with Louie's hair. If you want to add some darker colors, let's suppose you're painting a dog and there's some little short dark hairs, you can add them. It's also darker here than I had noticed. Now, I don't like that whisker. I think it's too noticeable. So I'm going to take my white charcoal pencil and just go over it a little bit to change the value so it's not so prominent. Is she cute? So let's put some fur on her little foot. This is the 276. Adjust things a little bit around the eyes. And when you see something that you need to fix, go ahead and fix it when you see it, because you may forget to. I think, I'm not sure what they're called. I think they're tear stains that a dog gets when they get older, or some breeds of dog. I've painted Louie several times, and she's a real sweetheart. So this side is the shadow side, and this is the light side. So I still want to darken this a little bit. So I can do that one of two ways, and then we'll add some background. I can take my 259 gray and go over very, very lightly these areas and push it into the background. And I think that works. The other method would have been to use my 9B pencil. For instance, there's a shadow here between her eyes. So I can use this to slightly change the color and make that more rounded. I want to change the shape here a little bit. Pull it out a little bit more. I just think she's adorable. She's so cute. So let's add a background. In the original photograph, she's on a couch and it's dark behind her, and I like the dark on the left side, so I think we'll keep that. So I've already added some gray around her. And this is 704.7 gray. And we have lots of colors left over from last time that we can use. I didn't use the green gray, but we have several blues. something fell off my table. I have no idea what it was. It's live after all, right? So I have some blues we used last time. Dark blue. We used pink and blue violet. We used Mars violet. I don't think I'm going to use the pink, but I am going to use these blues. Let's see what happens, and we'll adjust it from there. So this is our, I believe this is our phthalo. This might be our Prussian blue. No, this is the phthalo 570.7. Now the edge of her blanket is right in here. So we want to make sure we don't get the blue there. Whoops. Went over her forehead a little bit with the blue, so this is why we put the background first, right? But I was waiting till I got here with you guys to do it, so that's my excuse for messing that up. That's kind of pretty. Now this was the dark blue we used last time. I'm going to turn Louie so that I don't end up really messing her up. So I'm going to turn her and put some of this dark color in. It looks pretty good. Let's add a little of our dark gray to this to darken it down a little more. And a teensy bit of black. Then what we can do, now that this is good and dark back here, I can take my 276 that I make my light hairs with, and we can pull out a few, and it'll look, it'll show up better. So let's just add a few of her hairs. So we need the dark to bring out the light. That's very nice. I like that. I'm going to put a little bit of darker color on this side. And this is the 5085 Prussian blue, I believe. I'm going to ask a question since we're testing the internet. Pat, are you still there? And Linda, how's your reception? Okay, let's turn it around. Oh, great, Pat. It makes me very happy to know that you're wonderful. So we had an equipment problem and it's fixed. That makes me very happy. Okay, I'm thrilled. Let me use a little bit of our pink. I don't know what that's going to look like. I can use pink. That may not be the right color pink. You know what I did? I put everything away after class. And this is the purple that we used. I don't think that was the right pink. So, let me get a lighter one. Thank you, Belva. Good to know that we have good reception and no problems. That makes me extremely happy. This is the 548-7. That's nice. That's too bright. So what's a way we can fix that? If I take my camera blower, thank you, Emil, so that's great. I'm glad reception is good. I think we solved the problem. We can blow it off with a camera blower. That's not working as good as I want. So we can wipe it off. This is wonderful. We have good reception in a thunderstorm, so that's pretty good. This is a microfiber cloth, and those of you who've been in my class know we use them a lot. If you haven't been here, this is what it's for. If you have color on here that you don't want, I have too much color here, I can take the microfiber cloth and just rub over it. It pulls the nap up of the paper, and it also removes color. So that's a good way to fix what you're doing. And then I can go over it with the lighter pink and the darker blue, which makes a better color. I do want to get it a little more even up here. And I need to bring it down a little more to where her blanket is going to come up. I'm still not crazy about this whisker, so I'm going to take my white Pastel 211 and just go over it and kind of remove it that way. Pull a little white here, make it a little I save all the ends of my white pastel and I sharpen them up like this so I can use them in little areas. To make things just a little brighter. Well, Miss Louie's looking pretty good. So let's do her blanket. So I'm going to use a base coat of gray. So I'm going to put in our base coat of 704.7. And the reason we use a base coat on velour paper is because pastel adheres differently to itself than it does to the raw paper. And I think that's true in most cases with pastel, but particularly true with velour paper. Excuse me. Now, because we can do what we want to and have fun, I'm going to add some different colors. And then we're going to, I think this is, you can see there's a texture here. So I'm going to add some blue and purple. If it was part of your kit, I would probably add blue-gray. I think I will, because you guys probably have some blue-gray already. Let's see, is that blue-gray? I have a box full of all kinds of stuff here. Thinking, let's put some of this in, dark blue. Not all over, but just kind of in spots. Put some dark gray. This is just a darker gray color. Really like that. I think I'm gonna put it all the way to the edge and up to where it meets the background. So we got a lot of drama going now. Now it's very black under here, so I'm going to use my black new pastel to create that shadow before I start adding the texture on the pillow. And this is very dark over here, so I'm just going to use the end of my black because it's handy, it's in my hand, to darken that up a little bit. That looks pretty good. Actually comes down a little further. Now we're going to add that fur. Now what I think I'm going to do for the fur is I'm going to use my $2.99 new pastel, and we'll probably use some white too. And it isn't like fur, because it has it's a fluffy texture. So I'm wondering if you could really use the pointed end instead of like she has. I think we'll let it get dull. I'm just going to let it get dull. Let's see what happens. We'll just create the texture. That works pretty good. So let's make some random This would be akin to like making grass, if you were going to make grass. I'm going to let this edge get very dull. And I'm touching very lightly. Don't want the texture of the blanket to overpower our subject, because she's so cute. We want her to stand out. Now if I take my white, I can probably do it better with a pointed one. I can pull out a couple of, highlight a couple of strokes. It's hard for me to use that. So I'm just going to highlight a few, make them a little brighter. And I'm going to keep them concentrated, kind of in the center. I think that's looking pretty good. Going back to the $2.99. I didn't get this low enough here, so I'm gonna darken it a little with what's sitting in my box close by. So I'm just gonna do that. Smooth it out a little bit with my 704. Now, surprisingly, this photograph was taken by my granddaughter with her cell phone, and it really turned out to be a very good photograph. Often, cell phones are just getting better and better at taking photos. I want to make it a little darker down here because we're going down to the bottom of the picture, and I want to make it less prominent. So if I darken it, it'll keep the viewer's eye from traveling out of our photograph, or not our photograph, our painting. So this has gotten, the edges have gotten very dull. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not, but instead of it being sharp, it's dull, and that just makes a soft stroke. It's not real prominent. I'll take my white and pick out a few places. Now I want to ask you guys, while I'm finishing this up, if you have any questions at all about the Bobcat or anything you would like to see me demo, think about that so that you can tell me, and I will be glad to answer that. A lot of you have shown me your Bobcats, and you did a super job. You really did. It was not an easy project. I think that's so pretty. Now, what if I wanted to add some more color? I think there is a path of white comes through here like this. So I want to put that, but there's a shadow that comes this way. I have not tried this in advance, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I have a blue. So what if I wanted to add a little more shadow in that area? Ooh, that's nice. And then down here, I wanted it to be more highlighted. I could just pick out some areas. I like that. I'm going to go a little further down. Am I still on camera? Yeah, okay. I'll move her up just a little bit. Put the darker gray over that. Using my $2.99 and just randomly putting in her little blanket. I think she's so cute. Now I'm getting a new message from Facebook I have never gotten before. And when you first sign on, it says, bring them on camera. This is new. Roberta, if you're still there, I'm going to punch the button and see what happens. Okay, we'll have to try that because it says that you can enable your camera and be on the broadcast. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to check into it. Maybe it'd be kind of like a Zoom thing. Okay. Now when I go to crop this, because the photograph was long and narrow, I would crop it that way too. So I'm going to crop it for framing over on this side and over on this side. So this kind of a long, narrow thing. Probably it will crop out at 5 by 7. So let me even up the top. Let me move her a little bit. And I think I'm going to punch up her eye color brightness just a little bit by pushing a little bit harder down at the bottom. Is she cute? Darken her nose. Sometimes when you're painting, the pastel dust gets on stuff. So you have to go back and fix it. And that's worked out really right. It really looks super. I think I'll also add just a little pink right here. I think adding color just adds a lot to the painting. So we have a couple of minutes left. Do you guys have any questions? I'll sign it at the bottom with my Sharpie. You can use the same method to paint on any surface. For instance, this isn't finished, but it's on pastel mat, the same animal. I prefer velour, but this is done in the same way with the same colors, just so that you can see all that you can do with pastel. It's wonderful. Don't forget to tell your friends and you that came on later. I'm going to be teaching this fox eye study on Wednesday, July the 29th at 1:30. So invite your friends. It's going to be on my main Facebook page. Yes, Pat, she has cataracts, and I think she's probably 11 or 12 years old, and she is adorable. She has been in the family for a while, and when we have Christmas and Thanksgiving, Louie is always there, along with the other Chihuahuas in the family. But this photograph is so adorable, I could not pass it up. And Pat, it is wonderful to know that you have maintained a connection. So it was my fault. It was my equipment. I was thinking maybe it was the airways or something, but it wasn't. It was our equipment. So thank you to Linda for suggesting a stronger router, and thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Do you have any other questions at all? Do you want me to do something or demonstrate anything? Just let me know. I'm going to make this a little bit darker. Wow, you're having storms as well. We need the rain, don't we? So this is wonderful. I always like to put my paintings away for a while and then come back to them and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed or anything that's not, that could be tweaked just a little bit. I'm going to pull these hairs out. I can use the pencil. Thank you, Linda. I want to point out too, just when you can use your pencils with velour paper, but you can't paint. They're just not as pigmented, so they're not going to paint a whole project, but they sure add some nice details. I think this is my best Louie yet. A few more hairs. Well, thank you all for joining me today. Have a lovely afternoon, and I hope you can join me again on Wednesday, and we will paint some fox eyes. And if you do have any other questions, email me or post them on this page. This page will be up for as long as Facebook allows so that you can watch the videos over and over again of the bobcat and of this little dog if you want to. And if I can help you anyway, please let me know. And you're very welcome, Pat. It is my pleasure to paint and do things for you guys. I love it too. I miss classes. I miss having people in my studio, and I miss getting together. You're very welcome, Kathy. I will see you guys next Wednesday when we paint us some fox eyes. So have a good week and a nice weekend. Bye.